The briefcase hit the floor with a hollow thud that echoed through the cramped lawyer's office in Lagos, and Amara Okafor felt every eye in the room turn to mock her. "That's it?" Her sister-in-law Chioma's voice dripped with venom. 7 years of marriage to our brother, and all you get is that dusty old thing? What would you do if your own family turned on you at your husband's will reading? Hit like if you've ever felt betrayed by those who should protect you, and comment below where you're watching from. Amara's fingers trembled as she reached for the battered leather briefcase, the only item her late husband Chidi had left specifically to her. Around the mahogany table in Barrister Okonkwo's office, the rest of Chidi's family sat in their finest ankara and lace, practically salivating over the properties, bank accounts, and business shares being distributed. Chidi's mother, Mama Nkechi, wore black mourning clothes, but her eyes gleamed with calculation as each asset was named. "The house in Ikoyi goes to my mother," Barrister Okonkwo read from the will. Mama Nkechi smiled, triumphant. "The import business and all associated accounts to my brothers, Obinna and Chukwuma." More satisfied nods around the table. Amara sat perfectly still, her 32-year-old face a mask of composure despite the humiliation burning through her chest. She'd nursed Chidi through his illness for 18 months, sat by his hospital bed in Lagos University teaching hospital night after night, and this was her reward. "And to my beloved wife, Amara," the lawyer continued, his voice softening slightly, "I leave my personal briefcase and its contents, with the instruction that she alone open it." The room erupted in laughter. "A briefcase." Obinna slapped the table. "Brother Chidi must have been delirious from the medication. That old thing has been in his office for years." "Perhaps there are some love letters inside," Chioma sneered. "How romantic." Meanwhile, the real assets go to the real family. The word stung because Amara knew what they really meant. She'd never given Chidi children. 5 years of trying, countless doctor visits, traditional healers, prayers at Mountain of Fire ministries, and nothing. In their eyes, she'd failed her primary. Amara's hands went numb, and the photographs scattered across Neoma's dining table like accusations made flesh. "Jesus Christ." Neoma's voice came from very far away. She picked up one photo, then another, her face contorting with horror and rage. "Amara, this is Chioma. Your sister-in-law. With Chidi." The room tilted. Amara gripped the edge of the table, her mind struggling to process what her eyes were seeing. In one photo, Chidi kissed Chioma's neck at what looked like a hotel room. In another, they sat together in his car, her head on his shoulder. But the worst one, the one that made bile rise in Amara's throat, showed Chioma in profile, her belly round and unmistakable, Chidi's hand spread across it protectively. "When was this?" Amara whispered, grabbing the photo. She flipped it over with shaking hands. "March 2019. The world stopped spinning for just a moment. March 2019. That was 4 years ago. The same year Amara had suffered her second miscarriage at 12 weeks. The same year she'd cried herself to sleep night after night while Chidi held her and whispered that God's timing was perfect, that they would have a child when it was meant to be. The same year he'd been sleeping with his brother's wife. "Wait." Neoma grabbed the photograph, her voice sharp with realization. "Chioma had a baby in late 2019. A boy. I remember because she brought him to church on dedication day." She looked up at Amara, her eyes wide. "Amara, how old is Chioma's son now?" "He just turned 4. Amara's voice sounded hollow, mechanical. "His name is Chinidu. Everyone says he looks just like Chidi's father." "Because he's Chidi's son," Neoma stated flatly. "Not Obinna's. Chidi's." The truth hit Amara like a physical blow. All those years of trying, of praying, of feeling like a failure as a wife because she couldn't give her husband a child, and he'd had one. With Chioma. With the woman who'd mocked her for being childless, who'd whispered to other family members that perhaps Chidi should take a second wife, who just hours ago laughed at Amara's inheritance. Amara grabbed the manila envelope with her name on it, ripping it open. Inside were documents, bank statements, property deeds, legal papers, and a letter in Chidi's handwriting. "My dearest Amara, if you are reading this, then I am gone, and my family has done exactly what I knew they would do. They have taken everything from you and left you with nothing but mockery. That is why I prepared this briefcase. I have been a coward and a betrayer. The affair with Chioma started in 2018, a moment of weakness that became a pattern of sin I could not break." Amara remembered. Obinna had sat quietly during the will reading, hadn't laughed when the briefcase was mentioned. He'd even nodded respectfully when she left. But he was still complicit, still part of the family that was throwing her out with 72 hours' notice. "I need to think," Amara said. "I need to understand everything in these documents first. Know exactly what I have before I decide how to use it." Her phone buzzed again. Another message in the family group, this time from Mama Nkechi, family meeting Sunday morning at the house. We need to discuss selling some of Chitty's things. Amara, make sure everything is packed and the house is clean before you leave. They wanted her to clean the house before they evicted her. The audacity made Amara's jaw clench. But instead of responding with anger, she felt something else rising inside her, something calculating and precise. They thought they'd won. They thought the game was over. They had no idea it was just beginning. I have until Sunday, Amara said, looking at Neoma. 3 days to decide how to burn their world down or simply walk away with my dignity and Chitty's hidden fortune. What's your instinct telling you? Amara picked up the photograph of Chioma again, studying the woman's smile, the way she looked at Chitty with such intimacy. This woman had slept with her husband, gotten pregnant with his child, then stood in Amara's kitchen countless times accepting food, accepting gifts, accepting sisterhood, all while laughing behind her back. My instinct is telling me, Amara said slowly, that Sunday's family meeting is going to be very different from what they're expecting. Her phone buzzed again. The ceiling fan in Neoma's flat spun in lazy circles above Amara's head as she lay awake on the small couch, staring into the darkness. Sleep was impossible. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Chioma's pregnant belly, Chitty's hand spread across it, that intimate smile between them. 3 a.m. The quietest hour in Lagos, when even the street noise faded to a distant hum. Amara sat up, careful not to wake Neoma, who'd finally fallen asleep around midnight after they'd spent hours going through every document in the briefcase. 7 million naira in cash. 2 apartment buildings in Abuja's Maitama district, currently occupied by tenants paying monthly rent. Shares in 3 separate companies. A lawyer's contact information with a note, this man knows everything. Trust him. And those photographs. 27 of them in total, documenting an affair that had lasted at least 2 years before Chioma got pregnant. Amara pulled her phone from where it charged on the side table. The mysterious message from T glowed on the screen. She'd memorized it. I know what was in the briefcase. We need to talk. Meet me at Cafe Neo in Victoria Island tomorrow at 2 p.m. Come alone. T. Who could T be? A business associate of Chitty's? Another relative? Someone who knew about the affair? The device she'd found in the briefcase lining sat on the coffee table, silent and sinister. Neoma had wanted to destroy it immediately, but Amara had stopped her. Whoever was tracking the briefcase already knew she had it. Breaking the device would only alert them that she'd found it. Her phone buzzed, making her jump. A WhatsApp message at 3 in the morning. From Chioma. Amara's stomach clenched as she opened it. Can't sleep either? I saw you took that old briefcase. Hope you found something useful in it. Chitty was always sentimental about strange things. Good luck with your fresh start, sister. You'll need it. Smiling face with smiling eyes. The casual cruelty made Amara's hands shake. Sister. Chioma had called her sister while carrying Chitty's child. While lying to her own husband. While watching Amara grieve over miscarriages and failed fertility treatments. Amara's thumbs hovered over the keyboard. She could respond right now. Send one of those photographs. Watch Chioma's world implode in real time. But something held her back. The meeting with T tomorrow. The lawyer Chitty had mentioned. The fact that Chioma's message, Mrs. Okafor. His voice was deep, educated. Thank you for coming. Who are you? He removed his sunglasses, and Amara's breath caught. She knew this face. She'd seen it in photographs at Chitty's office, at family gatherings years ago. My name is Tun Bakare. I was your husband's lawyer. His real lawyer, not Barrister Okonkwo who read the will yesterday. Then why weren't you at the reading? Tun smiled grimly as he sat down across from her. Because that will was not the one Chitty actually wrote. That will was drafted by his family, with his signature forged 6 months ago when he was too weak from chemotherapy to fight back. He leaned forward. The real will is in my office. And it leaves everything, absolutely everything, to you. The cafe noise faded to a dull roar in Amara's ears. What? The house. The business. The bank accounts. Every single asset his family claimed yesterday. Tun pulled a folder from his briefcase and slid it across the table. This is the authentic will, witnessed and notarized properly. The one they read yesterday is fraudulent. Amara's hands shook as she opened the folder. There it was, Chitty's signature, dated 8 months ago, witnessed by Tun Bakare and another lawyer. Every clause crystal clear. To my beloved wife, Amara Okafor, I leave the entirety of my estate. Why didn't you stop the reading yesterday? Amara demanded. Why let them humiliate me? Because Chitty asked me to wait. He wanted you to have the briefcase first. To understand what you were dealing with. To see who in his family would show their true colors. Tun's expression was grave. He knew they would fake a will. He knew they would try to steal everything. But he also knew that if I showed up with the real will immediately, they would fight it, destroy evidence, make your life hell for years in probate court. The red wax seal stared up at Amara like an accusation as she sat in Neoma's flat that evening, the envelope resting on her lap. She'd been looking at it for 30 minutes, unable to bring herself to break it open. "It's just paper," Neoma said gently from across the room. "Whatever Chitty wrote, it can't hurt you more than what you already know." But Amara wasn't sure that was true. The photographs had been devastating. The affair with Chioma, the hidden child, those betrayals had nearly broken her. What could be worse than that? "Maybe I don't want to know," Amara whispered. "Maybe I should just let Tund handle everything on Sunday. Expose them all. Get my house and business back. Move on." "You could do that," Neoma agreed. "Or you could read what your husband wanted to tell you before he died. The choice is yours, but you'll always wonder if you don't." Amara knew she was right. With trembling hands, she broke the seal. The letter inside was written on several pages, Chitty's handwriting shakier than in the first letter, this one written when he was much weaker, closer to death. Some words were barely legible. "Amara, if Tund gave you this letter, then you have discovered the fraud. You know that my family forged a will and tried to steal everything from you. You know that I tried to protect you from them. And you are planning to destroy them on Sunday. Before you do, I need to tell you the rest of the truth. Not the truth about the affair, you already know that part. The truth about why it happened. The truth about us. You were not the reason we could not have children, Amara. I was. I had a vasectomy in 2016, before we were married. My family pressured me into it because they believed my medical history, my heart condition, my family's genetic issues, meant I should not have children. They convinced me it was responsible. I was young and stupid and I listened. I never told you. I let you go through years of fertility treatments, doctors, traditional healers. I let you believe your body was failing when mine had been altered to make pregnancy impossible. I let you cry yourself to sleep thinking you were inadequate as a wife. The affair with Chioma started because I was weak and she was available, and I convinced myself that if I could not give you a child, it did not matter what else I did. Twisted logic from a guilty man. She got pregnant despite precautions, and when she told me, I felt something I had not felt in years, pride. Proof that I was capable, even if I had made sure you never knew. I know this makes everything worse. I know it means every moment of your suffering was my fault. The miscarriages you had early in our marriage, before my procedure, those that he manipulated her. Pressured her. So what? Neoma's eyes flashed with anger. She still slept with your husband. She still let you suffer, let you believe you were the problem. She still mocked you yesterday. I don't care what Chitty said, she made her choices. Amara knew Neoma was right. But the letter had shifted something in her understanding. Chitty had painted himself as the villain, had taken responsibility for setting the whole disaster in motion. Was that truth, or just more manipulation from beyond the grave? Her phone buzzed. A message from Tund. "Have you read the letter? We need to decide our strategy. Sunday is 2 days away. 2 days to choose, complete revenge or calculated mercy. 2 days to decide whether to destroy an innocent child's family or walk away with her dignity and fortune intact. 2 days to figure out who she wanted to be on the other side of this nightmare." Amara picked up her phone and stared at the message. Her thumbs hovered over the keyboard, but she couldn't type. She didn't know what she wanted to say because she didn't know what she wanted to do. "Sleep on it," Neoma suggested, reading her expression. "You don't have to decide tonight. But Amara, whatever you choose, make sure it's what you want, not what Chitty's trying to manipulate you into from the grave." That was the question, wasn't it? Was this letter genuine remorse, or was it one final act of control? Was Chitty trying to protect his family's secrets, or was he giving Amara permission to be merciful to herself? And what about the money, the properties, the assets? Those were hers regardless of what she decided about the affair. She could take back everything that was legally hers, the house, the business, without exposing Chioma and Obina. She could punish the family for the fraud without destroying an innocent child's world. Or she could. The Lagos sun was setting over the Atlantic Ocean, painting Jara Beach in shades of orange and purple as Amara arrived at 7:45. She'd come early deliberately, wanting to scope out the location before Chioma appeared. Neoma was already there, sitting at a beach bar 20 meters away, pretending to sip a Chapman while keeping Amara in her line of sight. The beach wasn't crowded on a Friday evening, a few couples walking in the surf, some teenagers playing volleyball, vendors packing up their grilled fish and corn stalls for the night. The air smelled of salt and smoke and frying plantains. Amara chose a spot near the waterline but far enough from the waves that she wouldn't be vulnerable. She wore jeans and a simple blouse, her hair covered with a head wrap. The briefcase was locked in Neoma's car, but she'd brought her phone with the voice recording app ready. At precisely 8 o'clock, Chioma appeared. She walked across the sand in expensive heels that immediately sank, forcing her to remove them and carry them. Her Ankara dress was too formal for the beach, too bright. She looked out of place, which Amara suspected was intentional. Chioma wanted to appear confident, in control, despite the setting. "You came," Chioma said as she approached. "You asked me to." Amara kept her voice neutral, revealing nothing. "You said there was more to Chitty's story." Chioma laughed, but it was bitter. More to his story. That's one way to put it. She sat down on the sand without waiting for an invitation, her dress spreading around her like a pool of fabric. "Did you believe his letter? The one where he takes all the blame and makes himself the villain. You know about the letter?" "Of course I know." Chioma's eyes glittered in the fading light. "I know about everything, Amara. The briefcase, the fake will, the photographs. I've known since Chitty was alive that he planned to leave you evidence. I've been waiting for you to find it." Amara's heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Then why didn't you destroy it? Why let me find proof of your affair?" "Because I wanted you to know the truth." Chioma leaned forward, her voice intense. "The real truth, not Chitty's sanitized version. He was a monster, Amara. A manipulative, controlling monster who destroyed both of us in different ways. He said he pressured you. Threatened to tell Obinna if you ended things. He did more than threaten." Chioma pulled her phone from her purse and scrolled through it. "He recorded us. Every time we were together, he had cameras running. In hotel rooms, in his car, even in his office at work. He had hours of footage of us having sex, talking, being intimate." She showed Amara the phone screen, a video file list with dates going back years. Amara's stomach turned. Why would he do that? Control. Insurance. Sickness, I don't know. Chioma's hands shook as she put the phone away. "When I tried to end things after I realized I was pregnant, he showed me the videos. Said if I didn't continue the affair, if I didn't pretend the baby was Obinna's, he would send everything to my husband, to my church, to everyone in Lagos. He would destroy my life. So you stayed with him." "I had no choice." Chioma's voice cracked. "I was trapped. And when Chinedu was born and Obinna was so happy, so proud to be a father, I thought maybe I could make it work. Maybe I could just live with the lie and eventually Chitty would get tired of me and let me go. But he didn't. He never did. Even when he got sick, even when he was dying, he still had power over me. Still called me to his hospital room, made me visit him, made me pretend we were just family while he threatened me in whispers." Chioma's eyes filled with tears. "And then he died, and I thought I was finally free. But he left you that briefcase. Left you the photographs. Left you the power to destroy my marriage just like he threatened to do." Amara sat very still, trying to process this new version of events. If Chioma was telling the truth, then the affair wasn't just betrayal, it was sexual coercion, blackmail, sustained abuse. But could she trust Chioma? Could she believe the woman who'd mocked her just 2 days ago? "Why should I believe you?" Amara asked. Chioma entered the frame, followed by Chitty. They kissed, began undressing, and then Chioma pulled away. "I can't do this anymore," Chioma said in the video. "This is wrong. I need to tell Obinna the truth." Chitty's response was cold, calculated. He pulled out his own phone and showed her something. "If you tell him, I send this footage to everyone. Your parents. Your church. Your job. Everyone will know what you are. You wouldn't. Try me." The video continued with Chioma crying, Chitty pulling her back to the bed, the whole interaction twisted and wrong. Amara felt sick watching it. "Enough," she said. Chioma stopped the playback. "That's one of the tamer ones," Chioma said. "He has had dozens like that. Some are worse. He kept backups everywhere. In his office, on external drives, in cloud storage. He made sure I knew I could never escape. Where are they now? I don't know. That's why I'm terrified. Because if you found photographs in the briefcase, maybe you found the videos too. Maybe they're already out there, waiting to destroy me." Chioma's hands twisted together. "Or maybe you have them. Maybe you're planning to use them on Sunday." "I don't have any videos. Just photographs." The relief that washed over Chioma's face was palpable. "Then maybe he deleted them. Maybe when he was dying, he had some attack of conscience. Or maybe someone else has them," Amara finished. "Maybe that's the real leverage here." They sat in silence for a moment, the waves providing background noise to their mutual realizations. If Chitty had made videos and they weren't in the briefcase, where were they? Who else might have access to them? "There's something else you should know," Chioma said. "About the will. The fake one that gave everything to Mama Nkechi and the brothers." "What about it?" "I didn't forge it. I know everyone will assume I did, but I didn't." Chioma met her eyes. "It was Mama Nkechi. She convinced a nurse at the hospital to help her get Chitty's signature on fake documents when he was heavily medicated. She planned the whole thing. Can you prove that? The nurse might talk if she's scared enough. Her name is Blessing Ademila. She worked in the oncology ward at LUTH. Chioma's expression was calculating now, survival instincts kicking in. If you're going after them on Sunday, that's the proof you need. The fraud started with Mama Nkechi, not with me. Amara absorbed this information, adding it to the growing pile of evidence. A fraudulent will, orchestrated by Chitty's mother. Videos of sexual coercion. A child caught in the middle of adult dysfunction. It was too much, too complicated, too painful. What do you want from me? Amara asked finally. Mercy, Chioma said simply. Keep the photographs hidden. Let Obinna think Chinedu is his. Take back the house and the business, you deserve all of that. Expose the fake will, punish Mama Nkechi and the brothers. But please, please don't destroy my son's life. And in exchange? I'll help you. I'll testify about the fake will. I'll tell you everything I know about Chitty's business dealings, where he hid money, who else was involved in cheating you. I'll help you take back everything that's yours. Chioma's voice was urgent. But please leave Chinedu out of this. Amara stood up, brushing sand from her jeans. The sun had fully set now, the beach dark except for scattered lights from the bars and restaurants. Neoma was still watching from her post, ready to intervene if needed. I'll think about it, Amara said. Amara, please. I said I'll think about it. Amara's voice was firm. I have until Sunday to decide. I'm not making promises tonight. She walked away, leaving Chioma sitting alone on the sand, and headed toward Neoma. Her friend stood immediately, reading the tension in Amara's posture. What happened? What did she say? Everything, Amara whispered as they walked to the car. She told me everything, and now I don't know what to believe. In the car, Amara recounted the conversation, the videos, the blackmail, the manipulation, the offer to testify against Mama Nkechi. Neoma listened without interrupting, her expression growing darker with each revelation. So either Chioma is telling the truth and Chitty was a sexual predator, Neoma said when Amara finished, or she's manipulating you one last time to save herself. That's the question, isn't it? Who do I believe, the dead husband who left me a... Saturday morning broke over Lagos with the usual chaos, generators humming, street vendors calling out their wares, the city alive and indifferent to Amara's crisis. She sat at Neoma's small dining table, staring at her laptop screen where the video from the mysterious friend played for the 5th time. The footage was damning. There was Mama Nkechi, speaking urgently to her dying son. There was Chioma, not visiting as family but actively participating in fraud, helping to position Chitty's hand, holding the papers steady. The date stamp showed it was during one of Chitty's worst periods, when the cancer medication had him confused and compliant. But the audio was the most devastating part. Neoma had helped Amara enhance it overnight, using a free online tool, and now they could hear the words clearly. Just sign this, my son, Mama Nkechi's voice coaxing. It's for the business paperwork. Everything will be taken care of. This gives the house to your mother, Chioma's voice, quieter but distinct. Where it belongs. Where it should have always been. Chitty's response was slurred, barely audible. Amara, should have. Amara will be fine, Chioma interrupted. She's young. She can start over. Your family needs this more. The video ended with Chitty's signature being guided onto papers he clearly didn't understand, his head lolling back on the pillow, sedated and helpless. So Chioma had lied. All her talk on the beach about not being involved in the will fraud, about it being all Mama Nkechi, lies. She'd been there. She'd helped. She'd participated in stealing Amara's inheritance while simultaneously begging for mercy about the affair. She played you, Neoma said, her voice hard. Everything she said last night was manipulation. The tears, the victim story, all of it designed to make you go soft on Sunday. Amara couldn't argue. The evidence was right there in high definition. But something still nagged at her. Who had sent this video? Who had been recording in Chitty's hospital room, and why had they waited until now to share it? Her phone rang. Tund. I found the nurse, he said without preamble. Blessing Ademila. She's scared and willing to talk. She says Mama Nkechi paid her 50,000 naira to help with the signature, but she didn't know it was for a will. She thought it was medical consent forms. Will she testify? If we guarantee immunity from prosecution, yes. She's young, needs the money, and terrified of going to prison. Tun paused. But Mrs. Okafor, I have something else. I accessed Chitty's cloud storage accounts. He left me the passwords in his instructions to me. There are videos. Many videos. Amara's stomach clenched. Of the affair? Yes. But also of conversations, arguments, transactions. Chitty documented everything obsessively. It's extensive. Tun's voice was carefully neutral. Some of it supports Chioma's claim that she was coerced. Some of it shows her as a willing participant. Some of it shows her and Mom and Ketchy planning together how to manipulate Chitty and eventually you. So everyone was using everyone. That would be an accurate summary, yes. Tund cleared his throat. The question is, what do you want to do with all this information? We can use it selectively tomorrow, or we can release everything and let the consequences fall where they may. Tomorrow. Sunday. The family meeting where they expected her to show up defeated and hand over the house keys. Amara thought about little Chinidu, 4 years old, innocent of his parents' sins. She thought about Obinna, who by all accounts was a good father, unaware that his son wasn't biologically his. She thought about the years she'd spent believing she was the problem, the broken one, while Chitty had orchestrated everything from behind the scenes. And she thought about Chioma's tears on the beach, which now seemed calculated rather than genuine. Chioma had known about the will fraud. She'd participated in it. While begging Amara for mercy, she'd been hiding her own active role in the betrayal. Tell me something, Tund. If I expose everything tomorrow, the fake will, the affair, Chinidu's paternity, all of it, what happens legally? The will is invalidated. You get everything back. Mom and Ketchy potentially faces criminal charges for fraud. Chioma's marriage likely ends. Obinna could sue for paternity fraud, though that's complicated in Nigeria. He paused. And you become the woman who destroyed a child's family, justified or not. And if I only expose the will fraud? You still get everything back. Mom and Ketchy still faces charges. But Chioma's secret stays safe, and Chinidu keeps his father. Another pause. Amara opened her laptop and began typing an email to Tund, her fingers flying over the keys. She wrote for 20 minutes, outlining her decision, her reasoning, her specific instructions for tomorrow's meeting. When she finished, she read it over 3 times, making sure she'd thought through every consequence. Then she hit send. What did you decide? Neoma asked quietly. I decided, Amara said, that I'm tired of being the victim in this story. Tomorrow, I take back my power. All of it. Are you exposing the affair? Amara looked at her friend, her expression unreadable. You'll find out tomorrow. Everyone will. The rest of Saturday passed in tense preparation. Tund called to confirm he'd received her instructions and would have everything ready. The nurse, Blessing Ademola, agreed to attend the meeting with police escort to provide testimony. Tund had contacted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission about the will fraud, and they were sending representatives as well. This wasn't going to be a family meeting. It was going to be a reckoning. As evening fell, Amara found herself packing her few belongings at the Ikoyi house one last time, not because she was leaving permanently, but because she wanted to control the narrative. Let them think she was complying. Let them relax their guard. The house felt like a museum of her failed marriage. Every room held memories, good ones early on, before Chitty's betrayal, when she'd believed they were building a life together. The kitchen where she'd cooked his favorite meals. The bedroom where she'd cried over miscarriages. The study where his briefcase had sat, hiding secrets she'd never suspected. Tomorrow, this would all be hers again. The house, the business, everything Chitty had actually wanted her to have. The question was, at what cost to everyone else? Her phone rang at 8 p.m. An unknown number. Against her better judgment, Amara answered. Hello? Amara Okafor? A woman's voice, educated, unfamiliar. Who is this? My name is Dr. Funmi Adeyemi. I was Chitty's oncologist at LUTH. A pause. I'm calling because there's something you should know before tomorrow. Something Chitty asked me to tell you only if you seemed ready to move forward with consequences. Amara's grip tightened on the phone. I'm listening. Chitty came to me 3 weeks before he died. He was lucid, off the heavy medications temporarily. He told me about the briefcase, about what it contained, about what he expected you to find. Dr. Adeyemi's voice was gentle but firm. He also told me that no matter what you discovered, no matter how justified your anger, he hoped you would remember one thing. What? That revenge might feel satisfying in the moment, but it's a poison that destroys the person who takes it as much as the person it's aimed at. He said to tell you that he'd lived with that poison for years, guilt, manipulation, control, and it killed him as surely as the cancer did. The doctor paused. He wanted you to be free, Amara. Free of him, free of his family, free of the need for revenge. That was his final wish. Amara felt tears prickling her eyes. And if I can't be free without justice? Without making them pay for what they did? Then that's your choice to make. But he wanted you to hear his perspective one last time. From someone who watched him die and heard his regrets. Dr. Adeyemi's voice softened. For what it's worth, I think you've already won. You survived his betrayal. You discovered his lies. You're still standing. That's the greatest revenge, being the one who walks away stronger. Sunday morning arrived with deceptive calm. Clear skies over Lagos, the call to prayer echoing from nearby mosques, the city slowly waking up to another day. But in the Ikoyi house that legally belonged to Amara Okafor, a storm was about to break. She arrived at 8:30, deliberately half an hour before Mama Nkechi had demanded. Tund was with her, carrying a leather portfolio stuffed with documents. Behind them, parked discreetly down the street, were 2 police vehicles and an EFCC van, waiting for Tund's signal. Neoma had wanted to come, but Amara had asked her to stay away. This confrontation needed to be clean, legal, and final. No complications. The house looked exactly as Amara had left it, the furniture she'd chosen, the curtains she'd hung, the garden she'd maintained for 7 years. It should have felt like coming home. Instead, it felt like entering a battlefield. At 9:45, the family began arriving. First Mama Nkechi in her driver's car, wearing elaborate lace and geli as if this were a celebration. Then Obinna and Chioma with little Chinedu, the boy clutching a toy car. Obinna nodded respectfully to Amara when he saw her. Chioma's face went pale. Oh. Continue. The brothers came next, Chukwuma and 2 cousins Amara barely knew. They filled the living room with loud conversation and laughter, pointedly ignoring Amara's presence. She stood by the window with Tund, watching them settle in like conquerors dividing spoils. At exactly 10 o'clock, Mama Nkechi called the meeting to order. "Thank you all for coming," she said, her voice ringing with authority. "We're here to finalize the distribution of my son's estate and to say goodbye to Amara, who will be moving on to her new life." She smiled at Amara with false sweetness. "I hope you've packed everything, my dear. We'll need the house cleared by this evening." "Actually," Amara said, her voice cutting through the room like a knife, "I won't be moving anywhere. This is my house. It's always been my house. And all of you are about to leave it." The room went silent. Mama Nkechi's smile froze. "Excuse me?" Tund stepped forward, opening his portfolio. "Mrs. Okafor is the legal owner of this property, as outlined in the authentic will executed by the late Chidi Okafor 8 months before his death." He pulled out documents and began distributing copies around the room. "The will you will read on Thursday was a forgery. These documents prove it." "That's impossible," Chukwuma blustered. "Barrister Okonkwo authenticated." "Barrister Okonkwo authenticated what you paid him to authenticate," Tund interrupted coldly. "But Chidi Okafor's real lawyer, me, has the original documents, witnessed and notarized, leaving everything to his wife." Amara watched the blood drain from Mama Nkechi's face. Around the room, family members were reading the documents with growing horror, seeing their inheritance evaporate on legal paper. "This is a trick," Mama Nkechi said, her voice shaking. "You're trying to steal what belongs to this family." "What belongs to this family is nothing," Amara said flatly. "What belongs to me is everything Chidi actually owned. The house. The business. The accounts. All of it." "We'll fight this in court," Obinna said, but his voice lacked conviction. He was staring at the documents, seeing the legal reality. "You can try," Tund agreed. "But you should know that forging a will is a criminal offense in Nigeria. The individuals responsible will face prosecution." Now Mama Nkechi looked genuinely frightened. "I don't know what you're talking about." "We have video evidence," Amara said quietly. She pulled out her phone and played the hospital footage, Mama Nkechi coaxing her dying son's signature, Chioma helping position his hand, their voices clear as they manipulated a sedated man. The room erupted. Chukwuma began shouting denials. The cousins started arguing. Obinna stared at the screen in shock, then turned to look at his wife. "Chioma?" His voice was barely a whisper. "You were there? You helped them steal from Amara?" Chioma's face crumpled. "Obinna, I can explain. We also have testimony from the nurse who was paid to assist," Tund continued, speaking over the chaos. "Blessing Ademola is prepared to testify that Mama Nkechi paid her 50,000 naira to help obtain the signature fraudulently. This is persecution." Mama Nkechi shrieked. "You're trying to destroy this family with lies." "No," Amara said, and she thought about herself, the woman she wanted to be on the other side of this nightmare. "What happens now," Amara said slowly, "is that you leave. This is my house, and I want you all out of it. The business will be transferred back to me legally. The accounts will be restored. Everything Chidi actually left me, I'm taking back." "And Chioma?" Obinna asked quietly. "Will she be charged as an accessory?" Amara looked at Chioma for a long moment. The other woman's eyes pleaded silently, desperately. "That depends," Amara said. "On whether she's willing to testify against Mama Nkechi. To tell the truth about how the fraud happened and who orchestrated it." She paused. If she cooperates fully with the authorities, I'll recommend leniency. If she doesn't? She left the threat hanging. Chioma nodded frantically. I'll cooperate. I'll tell them everything. Everything about the will, she emphasized, and Amara heard the silent plea, only about the will. Not about the affair. Good. Amara turned away, unable to look at them anymore. Now leave. All of you. I need to be alone in my house. Obina gathered his son and his wife and walked toward the door. But he stopped at the threshold and turned back. For what it's worth, Amara, Chitty was lucky to have you. He didn't deserve you, but he was lucky anyway. He paused. I hope you find happiness. Real happiness. You've earned it. Then they were gone, and Amara was alone in the house that was finally, legally, undeniably hers. She walked through each room slowly, reclaiming them. This was her kitchen. Her bedroom. Her study. Her life returned to her piece by piece. In Chitty's study, she found the briefcase still sitting on the desk where she'd left it yesterday. She opened it one final time, looking at the photographs of Chitty and Chioma, at the evidence of betrayal she could have weaponized. And she made her decision. Amara carried the briefcase to the backyard, where a metal trash bin sat waiting. She pulled out the photographs, all 27 of them, and set them on fire, watching Chitty's lies burn away in the afternoon sun. The money, the property deeds, the legal documents, those she kept. They were hers, earned through suffering and survival. But the affair, the photographs, the secret of Chinidu's paternity, those she let burn. Not because Chioma deserved mercy, but because Amara deserved peace. Because that little boy deserved his innocence. Because carrying that particular poison would have destroyed her as surely as it had destroyed Chitty. She watched until every photograph was ash, until every image of Chioma and Chitty together was erased. Then she went back inside her house and closed the door on that chapter of her life forever. Her phone buzzed. A message from Tund, it's done. The property is legally transferred. The accounts are accessible. You're free. Free. What a beautiful word. Another message, this time from Neoma, I saw the news about Mama Nkechi's arrest. Are you okay? Amara thought about the question. Was she okay? Her husband had betrayed her. His family had tried to destroy her. She'd been lied to, manipulated, humiliated. But she'd survived. She'd fought back. She'd won. I'm better than okay, she typed back. I'm starting over. Finally. A third message, from an unknown number. Amara almost deleted it, but curiosity made her open it. Thank you for not telling Obina. Thank you for giving my son a chance at a normal life. I know I don't deserve your mercy, but Chinidu does. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to earn the grace you showed me today. Chioma. Amara didn't respond. There was nothing more to say. Chioma would have to live with her lies, with the fear that someday the truth might come out, with the knowledge that her marriage was built on deception. That was punishment enough. As evening fell over Lagos, Amara stood on her balcony looking out over the city. Somewhere out there, Mama Nkechi was sitting in a police cell. Somewhere, Chioma was holding her son and her secrets close. Somewhere, Chitty's brothers were trying to salvage what remained of their family's reputation. And here, in this house that was finally hers, Amara was free. Free of their expectations, their cruelty, their manipulation.